residents throughout the municipality, the West Wyoming Borough Council does not support the gas compressor station being located within our boundaries. Residents' concerns regarding their health and safety has brought us to this decision. We respect, however, that Luzerne County will make the final determination on granting a special exception to zoning. In this regard, we respectfully request that you take our concerns and those of our residents into account. In the event the hearing board does decide in favor of granting a special exception, we request that your approval be predicated upon the applicant including the following proper conditions in its application, some of which I've heard addressed here tonight by UGI. One is to conduct a feasibility study to determine if electric motors could be used at the compressor station. Number two is to construct an on-site stormwater retention basin to capture runoff equivalent of a 100-year storm, as well as employing state-of-the-art water management techniques to control water runoff down the side of the mountain along the path of the pipeline. Leave an undisturbed natural vegetation buffer of at least 100 feet along the property line of the compressor site and minimize ingress and egress points to the absolute minimum required by sound engineering and construction practices. Agree to cap pollutant emission levels produced on the property not to exceed the current emission projections of 18.5% of today's current federal standards by the EPA, i.e. no additional emissions producing equipment can be installed, which would raise the overall pollution levels above the current emissions projections. Monitoring of emission levels with copies of the reports distributed to DEP and West Wyoming Borough. Meet with emergency responders from West Wyoming Borough and other affected municipalities to address traffic needs and develop and implement an appropriate and effective emergency preparedness response for the compressor station and its operation. Construct fast-acting emergency shutdown valves upstream of all surface equipment in the compressor station that will shut down and isolate the compressor from the pipeline. Install check valves on the downside stream of the compressor station that will prevent backflow of gas from the Transco pipeline. And install a 6-foot fence around the compressor station and associated equipment. The last thing I'd like to say is you've characterized the property as rural or remote in West Wyoming Borough. West Wyoming Borough is only 3.6 square miles in total, and just about 2,700 residents live in that 3.6 square miles, a lot of which are here tonight. So there is cause for health and concern, and it is a densely populated municipality.
Before you, do you have any questions tonight that you wish to pose to the applicant?
You did say you meet with our emergency responders?
Yes.
On the formulated plan?
Yes.
You did say that you, at this point, do not foresee any additional compressors on that site?
Okay, can I stop right there just so you know? Tonight's hearing is addressing only what their application is requesting, which includes 3 compressors. If a year from now they decided they wanted to put a 4th compressor in, they would have to come through this board and do the same thing all over again. So, you know, if there wasn't approval, just so you know, that doesn't give them carte blanche to do whatever they want going forward. They have to maintain their facility according to what was approved. So if their application tonight is for 3 compressors, they can't go to a 4th compressor just because, if they got permission to do so, just because they did. They could not expand what they do. So when you ask, like, for example, in number 5, or I'm sorry, I think it was number 4, about adding additional equipment, producing, they couldn't do that without coming back to a board. So you know that. I just want to make you aware of it. The other thing I do want to make you aware of is number 2, that regards to the stormwater management. So you know, if they got approval through zoning, that doesn't mean they go out tomorrow and they start building. The next step would be that they'd have to go through a land development. Because of the disturbance of the site and the amount of disturbance that they would have there, they have to go through land development. And they're going through land development is going to be the board, which is a different board than this one, that would actually sit and make the determination with regards to stormwater management and such. So this board really doesn't deal with stormwater management issues. But the land development, which would be another process before they can build, before they could do anything, they would have to go through and get permission to proceed. And really it's at that level that you'll get more involved in the stormwater management issues, because at that point you have engineers who are involved in the board and such. So they will handle all of that at a future hearing if it got to that point. Okay, so I just want to make you aware of it. So for purpose of asking questions later, the stormwater management issue is not an issue that the zoning board will deal with. It will be an issue that will occur if it goes forward with land development. And then they will get into stormwater management issues, and they'll be required to provide, again, certain requirements with regards to that stormwater management, where it will go and how it will be retained and such. So that's for another day and another time. We appreciate you letting us know your concerns, and we will certainly pass that on, but it will not be something that will be addressed by this board, because it's not an issue for us at this point. It will be an issue down the road. Not that it won't be addressed, it just is addressed by a different board. Okay? Yeah, we were going to go to them next because they told me that they're done. You're done. I would be happy.
You can represent Monique.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Omid Feruzzi, O-M-E-D-F-I-R-O-U-Z-I. I'm here on behalf of State Representative Phyllis Mundy, who represents the 120th Legislative District of Pennsylvania. Representative Mundy regrets that she is not able to be here this evening. However, I would like to present the following remarks on her behalf. I appreciate the opportunity to offer comments on UGI's request for a special exception and variance for its proposed natural gas compressor station project in West Wyoming Borough, which is located in my district. Over the past several months, I have received many letters, phone calls, and emails from my constituents regarding the potential construction of the compressor station in West Wyoming. An overwhelming majority of those who contacted me are strongly opposed to this project. It has been made abundantly clear to me that my constituents are gravely concerned about the negative impact such a facility could have on their property values, on the quality of the air they breathe, and on their health. And as I research the potential dangers of compressor stations, I have developed my own concerns about how its emissions could adversely affect air quality in West Wyoming and surrounding communities. Simply stated, this is an issue we cannot afford to take lightly. As a state representative committed to protecting the interests of my constituents, I must ask the board to deny UGI's application for a special exception and variance. I also ask that the board give serious consideration to the comments of West Wyoming Borough Council Chairman Eileen Cipriani and incorporate her conditions for approval if UGI's request must be approved. I realize that to some extent the board's authority may be limited and must be based on criteria contained in the municipal zoning ordinance. However, I would ask that you, members of this board, do your very best to protect the health and safety of my constituents. Thank you for your